What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tesla Geek Show. I am Anwar Beck.
And I'm Eli, and we are so excited to be back with you for this return episode. We have a lot to talk about, including Anwar Beck's custom Cybertruck in development, brand new news from Tesla's shareholder release today about the upcoming ride-sharing platform, Robotaxi, the next-gen model, and more. All right, Anwar Beck, where do you want to pick this up, man? I know. Let's start with news with you, bro. Like, let's go all the way back.
How far back do we go?
So let's go back to probably, I think, the moment that made you realize you were going to need to get a Cybertruck, and that was the Cyber After Party.
Yes. Oh man. Let's see. So the Tesla Owners Club of Austin, Matt Home and I, we run the Austin Tesla Club. We knew when the Tesla Cybertruck delivery event was going to be happening that we're going to basically throw the after party. We we're the good time basically. I assumed Tesla was going to have this massive event for the delivery, for Cybertruck delivery. It's been anticipated. We were at the Cybertruck unveil together, right? Like, how long ago was that? 4.5 years ago?
It was 2019.
Yeah. I remember standing front row. My wife was with me. Matt was there. A bunch of our friends. That moment, dude, I still talk about it to this day. Like when the Cybertruck came out, do you remember your initial reaction? Because mine is not what people would anticipate. Like I looked at that thing and I was like, what is that monstrosity? And I looked, and not in a good way. I looked around. I was like, I know I'm supposed to be like a fan, but am I the only one that thinks that thing is ugly?
My response was, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah. Okay. So I think that was a general consensus. If you were there in person, most people, I'm pretty sure in the audience, thought Elon was trolling us. The real Cybertruck is going to be shown in a little bit. This is just like a super render that Elon's showing us of his dream one day or whatever. Like 20 minutes into the presentation, most people in the audience, I think, still did not believe that was going to be a production vehicle. What do you think?
No, dude, I remember that like it was more than half the audience, roughly, from everyone we talked to after the initial unveiling,
Yeah.
thought that the real truck was coming out next. They really
Yeah.
didn't believe that that was it. I wasn't under that interpretation. I believe that, yep, Elon is Elon enough. That's how I'm going to describe it.
Elon is a
Is Elon
madman, and
enough
this is yeah.
to
Yeah.
do this. But it was like, wow, based on the little sneak images. Remember they gave us that little sneaked image that was just like a zoom in of the headlight, and people were like, what is
Yeah.
that, a copier? Like,
Yeah.
there's no way we could have guessed that's what the vehicle was going to look like.
Yeah. So the reason I'm bringing up the story is my business partner, good friend here in Austin, Matt, who's the founder of the Tesla Owners Club. He was with us at that event, and Matt had the opposite reaction. I watched him. I looked over and I'm like, "What is he doing?" He pulls out his phone and he is just smiling ear to ear, and he goes, "Fuck yeah!" He goes, "That looks like a Mars rover ate a Hummer. I want that." And he places a deposit right there, like right when it came out. So fast forward 4 years. We're a few weeks out from the delivery event, and I get a phone call from a very close confidant of Elon's, and they asked if I wanted to take delivery of my Cybertruck at the delivery event, and I was in shock. I was like, I just recently, my wife and I had a baby like 10 months ago, and I bought myself a push present. I bought a Plaid Model X. Like it wasn't that much, before this time frame. So I was like, I'm pretty sure my wife's gonna kill me if I go buy another $100,000+ vehicle. So I gracefully bowed out, but I was like, hey, I don't want to give up the position. Can I just offer it to my friend who runs the Tesla Owners Club? I mean, if you're going to give it to somebody in the community, I think this is the guy that deserves it. Founder of the Tesla Club, and I mentioned to them the story about like how Matt loved it from like, love at first sight. So that was the plan. So we were under the assumption that we're getting a Cybertruck. So Matt and I, including our friends, the Now You Know guys help. Eli, you played a big role. Like we basically had like a group together and we planned this massive event. I didn't realize until like a couple of weeks before the event that Tesla's event was going to be like less than 500 people or something. It wasn't anything like, or even less than that. Was it 200? And then I figured out that like our event is the main event. Like a bunch of Tesla executives were messaging me and Eli saying, "Can we come to y'all's party?" And we're like, "Of course you can."
Of course,
But
guys.
yeah, but so I mean, we had like, also we spent a lot of time and money trying to figure out how to make this thing amazing, right? We had a 360 camera, that was gonna, Noah is our mad genius scientist friend who's really good with audio, video, and equipment, all that kind of stuff. We had literally a camera where the Cybertruck was gonna get parked, and then we are gonna do like a 360 around it. All sorts of money spent on AV equipment. We're bringing all of our celebrity friends. Sandy Monroe came into town, was a headliner. So all this was like set, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks before, we still don't have our confirmation that we're getting a Cybertruck. And then I think we realized the closer the event got, what originally was supposed to be like 30 deliveries ended up coming down to 20, then 20 was 10. I think the night of the delivery, they delivered like 8 or something. And by the way, there's only 2 Cybertrucks that left the factory of those 8. Okay.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I am stressing out. I'm like, okay, how do you have a Cybertruck party and you don't have a Cybertruck to show people? Like, that is bad, right? We had over 1,000 people RSVP. Like, I knew it was going to
More
be a
than
big
that,
blow up.
we were well over 2,000. We even had to
2,000?
extend. We even had to call like a special emergency meeting with everybody involved to make sure that like everyone was good with extending the cap because it went up. We went well past 2,000 people.
I forgot. Yeah. I think we had a ton of people show up though, like well over 1,000. So then I'm stressing out. We're the hosts. We may or may not have a Cybertruck there. We're most likely not going to have a Cybertruck there. So then I think you or Matt, somebody was like, why don't you reach out to Franz? Franz is, you guys know, dude, he's such a like, he loves the community. He's like very supportive. So I randomly just like emailed Franz and explained the situation. And he's such a good guy. He basically was like, he's like, dude, not only are we sending a Cybertruck, he's like, I'm going to come and speak at your event and I'm going to invite my friends to come. And I was like, oh my God, dude, this is going to be amazing. So the day of the Cybertruck delivery event, again, I can't mention all these names, I feel like, but somebody in Elon's circle gives Sandy Monroe and I a Cybertruck. So Sandy Monroe and I roll up to the delivery event in a Cybertruck. Okay, these things are non-existent.
I was like, you showed up to the delivery event for the vehicle, in the vehicle being delivered. I don't think I've ever heard of that happening before.
I'm pretty sure we're the
Elon
only
is the
ones.
only other person who's ever rode up to the delivery event.
It might have been Elon's car, dude. Because these were not out yet. And we show up. Well, the funny thing is, Sandy and I show up, and where they give you your bracelets in the admissions area, they look at us, they're like, we don't even like, we know you guys are VIP. Like, there's no fucking way you're showing up in the Cybertruck. So they, I'm assuming we were in Elon's VIP or whatever, but we get like the VIP bracelets. Sandy and I literally pull up to the very front, drop the keys, and walk. There's no shuttle service. It's like, oh my God, this is such a cool way to do this. So that was the kind of the backstory. And sure to his word, like, the Cybertruck delivery was amazing. Sandy and I were, front and center for everything. Saw a bunch of the board members. And afterwards,
Elon's given the
basically, like, once the event ended, we were heading back to our party, the Cybertruck after party. And then I get a message from Franz.
Amazing.
They like, actually, a Cybertruck pulls up. We were thinking it's Franz, right? Because Franz said he's coming. But it ends up, it was one of Franz's really, really good friends who had taken delivery that night of a Cyber Beast. And I guess Franz did message his friends, is like, hey, go to this party and we'll all hang out there. And all of a sudden, Franz's friend Philip shows up in the Cybertruck. And I think that was actually the first time that I met Philip. He comes in, he's a buddy of mine now, but like, he comes in the Cybertruck and he's like starstruck. He's like, he didn't know where he was, kind of. He's like, oh my God. He's like, trying to back up his car. I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, keep your Cybertruck here. He's like, oh my God, I think this was meant for Franz. I was like, it was, but it's like more for the Cybertruck. People want to see the Cybertruck. So we end up basically parking Philip's car. Franz at the time is en route. He's like, dude, I'm 15 minutes out. So there, Omid and Franz are coming. So we end up Sandy basically like does like an overview of the energy and all that kind of stuff. And then ultimately, Franz did show up with Omid.
Seriously? Welcome the art creator himself, chief designer Franz van Hohausen.
Franz, thank you so much for joining us today. This is a momentous day, and we all want to thank you so much for designing this thing.
I mean, dude, like Franz spent the entire time basically, mix and mingling with everybody, taking photos. And what did you think of the cyber after party?
Man, dude, Franz was so cool. So he hung out, he did the initial arrival, which you guys can see on the screen here, and then he gave his little blurb, and then came in, hung out in the VIP for a bit to meet everybody. Thank you, by the way, to the sponsors who funded that event. For people who don't know, this was a completely free to attend event.
Yep.
I mean, and like, by the way, that does not mean this event was cheap. I mean, like, we spent like 60 grand in hard costs on this event, on top of all of the organizers, you, me, Matt, Noah worked for cost with his team. That's audio, video. Zach and Jesse worked for free. They worked for 12 hours emceeing the event. This was a very expensive event to put on. So we had a VIP section for the sponsors who paid for this event. Franz came into VIP, took photos everybody wanted to, talked to everybody, signed autographs, and then went out into the event and hung out pretty much for the rest of the night, man. Like, it was really freaking cool of him. Like, Franz is such a down-to-earth guy, so nice. And it was perfect that Franz was there, because this was Franz. Franz is the chief designer at Tesla.
Yep.
And yes, this was Elon's vision, but Franz is the one who had to design this vision and execute on this. And
the
get
visionary.
The design team and get the engine. He had to turn, Elon's idea about the future should look like the future into a product that could actually be manufactured and delivered. So like, that was Franz's night. I'm so glad Franz was there. So glad everyone got to meet him. It was really, I can't even tell you how much of a fantastic time it was. My only bummer for the event is it was so busy running the event, because that's the other thing. We were real time producing the event live. Like, we were bouncing back and forth between the screen and side, watching, letting them know, hey, it's time to run another sponsor bump. It was crazy. I miss seeing a lot of people from the community I had meant to see. And the event was just so crowded that if you didn't like go actively search for someone, you could have easily missed them. Like, it was, amazing.
I don't think
I've never felt that much energy. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't catch any of the talks. I'm pretty sure, like, none of them, because I was running around playing host or whatever.
Yeah, same. Aside from the one that I was moderating, I didn't catch many of them either. But aside from actually being at a Tesla event in the early days, I don't think I've ever felt so much energy at an event in the Tesla space ever. Yeah.
No, it definitely was very epic. I mean, that was kind of the last event that we had. And then just to catch you guys up on my personal journey, I ultimately relented. I got, again, a message from some of the higher ups. They're like, dude, we have a cyber beast waiting for you. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I say no to this? You know what I mean? I've already passed up taking delivery at the delivery event.
You can't say no to that, brother.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, I got like a Tom Zhu, one of the top executives at Tesla, like hand delivered my cyber beast to me. And then, of course, the very first thing that I did is I called Ben and Avi at Unplugged. For any of you guys, I'm wearing you guys can see, like, I'm a massive fan of Unplugged Performance. They're based out of LA. They do these like really amazing modifications on Teslas for performance reasons. And I know they've been working on this for years, but like, they had this entire crazy Unplugged Invincible line of like crazy mods for the Cybertruck. I'm pretty sure, I mean, they wouldn't tell me. I'm sure they have NDAs and stuff, but I'm assuming they've been working very closely with Tesla Design, because as soon as the Cybertruck launched, they were ready with a lot of these products. So I'm assuming they were working on all this. So I knew I didn't want the same Cybertruck as everybody else. So as soon as I got the car, I called Avi. I drove it for maybe like a week, and then I shipped it to LA. It's actually on its way back from LA now. They kind of did. It's going to be a couple of different phases, but they've tinted and they did a colored PPF. We'll show some of the pictures here in a little bit so you guys can see what the car looks like right now. But ultimately, in the next few weeks, it's heading back to LA to have the full unplugged Invincible line put on it. And just so you guys have a visual of what that looks like, here's some like renderings of what they have produced. Basically, taking a performance Cyber Beast Cybertruck, which is 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. I think it's like 845 horsepower, something insane. That's another thing we can discuss later on, dude. I feel like a lot of the guys that took the dual motor, as soon as they drive my tri-motor Beast, it changes the drive completely. Like you want it immediately, even if you have a dual motor Cybertruck.
All right, so you've driven both the dual motor and the tri-motor. What is the difference? I'm dying to know.
I'm probably a very good person to answer this question because Matt, my business partner, although he didn't take delivery of his dual motor Cyber Beast at the delivery event, he took delivery of it shortly after. So I have access to his car on my phone. Like Matt and I are together all the time. So I drove it like it was my car for a few weeks. And then I picked up my Cyber Beast. And I'm telling you, dude, like I warned Matt. I was like, dude, like I'm being honest, a good friend, do not drive my car. Because as soon as you drive my car, you're gonna want to sell yours or something and get the tri-motor. It's that big of a difference.
That's like the old school days of when people had a long range Model S and then they got into a Ludicrous and it ruined them. Yeah. Is it that big of a difference?
It's a big difference. I mean, it's the subtleties too. Like I like that, you know, the tri-motor, the three-headed dog symbol. The interior is a little bit nicer because I think the front, instead of being plastic, is like Alcantara. There's a few things where you notice. But the drive is the main thing. Like it is significantly more like powerful and faster. The whir of the engine in the Beast Cybertruck, the tri-motors, I think it has something to do with like the magnetic motor being in the front or something. That it's set up a little bit different. The motors in the tri-motor versus the dual motor. Apparently, one of my buddies is like the head of motors for Cybertruck. He was telling me there's a massive difference. And you feel it in the performance and even the sound, dude. My car sounds different than Matt's. It sounds mean when you press on the accelerator.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So don't drive a Cyber Beast if you own a dual motor unless you're ready to upgrade.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I've always given that advice to people. They're like, oh, have you ever driven a Tesla? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, wait until you're ready to buy one to go do it.
Yeah.
Because once you do, you're gonna have that grin that you have on your face right now, and you're gonna leave the Tesla store $50,000 poor because you just bought a brand new car.
The thing, just my own like high level. You know, I've had the car for several weeks now. I've seen a lot of YouTubers complain that like it definitely is such a unique vehicle that like the whole like you feel like a celebrity everywhere you go. People are taking photos and pictures and whatever. Like it's almost like unsafe in certain portions because like you're driving on the highway and people pull up, roll down their windows, and they're like sticking their hand out, filming you. So it seems a little like, hey, keep your eyes on the road type of situation. I heard of one YouTuber that got rear-ended. Like they rented a Cybertruck and somebody was like filming behind them and was not paying attention. They fucking rear-ended the Cybertruck.
No,
so
what a disaster.
You have to be careful. I mean, I don't mind the attention, I guess. But other than that, what I try to explain to people, I mean, as soon as you get over this thing looks like it came from the future and it belongs on Mars, the steer by wire, and then the fact that like all the wheels, like the real wheels help you turn, how the car is heavy, but it feels so smooth to drive. I think it's just as comfortable as my Model X Plaid. I ended up, I wanted to keep the X Plaid in the family, so I convinced my wife that she should, she had a Model Y prior to me picking up the Cybertruck. So I've shifted things around in the family. So my wife is now driving our X Plaid, but she didn't like the yoke steering. So I had Tesla replace the yoke steering with a round steering wheel. So she's very happy with that. And then I ended up, but like even my wife, dude, who's not like a massive fan of Cybertruck, she loves driving the Cybertruck. So every time I like meet people, I tell them, hey, please drive my car. I cannot explain to you in words how amazing this product is. It's like underneath the skin, it's so much better than all the hype of the look, and Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are driving this vehicle. The technology, how smooth it is, how powerful it is, how useful it is with the tonneau cover, throwing, my wife and I take our 10-month-old like on a stroller, like just throwing the stroller in the back and not worrying about. I haven't driven, like my very first car actually was an F-150, like 20 something
wow.
years ago when I started driving. I had like a entry level, like one of those very cheap, F-150s. It was actually manual. I came up into the, driving world through the pickup, and then at one point I owned a Toyota Tundra 4x4, like whatever.
Good
this
truck.
massive vehicle. Yeah, amazing truck. But since then I haven't been a truck driver. This was like early on, like 20 years ago or something. But yeah, so but I don't know how to explain it, dude. Like I love my vehicle. I'm so happy, like with everything. In the beginning, I was a little worried. Am I just buying this because of the hype or whatever? And I mean, we're Tesla geeks, right? Like,
Yeah, we are.
I really like, we get into Tesla stuff not to flex or flaunt. Like, we're just nerds that like the shit. Like, probably like most of our listeners, dude. Like, we genuinely, why do we get involved with the Owners Club? And some of like the best friends I've made has been through the Tesla community. It's like-minded
Bro,
people.
we became friends from this
Yeah.
Tesla community. We first
Yeah.
met, by the way, at the unveiling event. It was super brief, but we met briefly at the semi roadster unveil. We just gotten our wristbands to go get in line to go ride the roadster, which you did first, by the way.
Yeah.
We met right before that with somebody else that I knew in the community who knew you.
I remember it was super brief, but we took a photo together.
Yeah, it was super brief. But I want to go back to the Cybertruck. You
Yeah.
said you're offering people to drive your Cybertruck. I have not yet driven a Cybertruck. So when you come out here and get your car back from Unplugged, yours is going to be the first Cybertruck I drive.
Dude, okay. You should wait then, I guess.
I will at this point, man. I got to drive yours.
Don't drive just any Cybertruck. You got to drive. I think I haven't decided. Maybe the listeners can help me come up with a name, but I was thinking, I made a post on X about this. I was like, what if I just call it like Mr. Beast? Kind of play off of I wanted something to do with Beast, because that's like the thing that makes it different. And the Cyber Beast, whenever you're driving it, there's like different modes where the dual motors don't have this. There's a Beast mode, and I keep it on Beast mode all the time. And literally it says, like, when you're driving, there's always the word Beast on there. So that's why I was like, it's going to have to be something with Beast. I think I originally...
When you get the car, after you take delivery and we do that release video, let's ask the community to give name ideas. I did this. I'm doing the same thing right now, by the way. I'm trying to pick out my wrap, and I actually offered whoever's wrap idea I choose, I'm going to send them $500. And some people have submitted some ideas. I'm down to like final 3, but the community has given me some ideas for how to wrap my car that I wasn't previously thinking about. So if you want to do that with the name, there's a lot of really smart, creative people out there in the community that would be happy to help out.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm actually today, I think tomorrow, my car is being shipped back. It'll arrive in Austin. So again, so far it's got like this color paint protection film. For those of you that are, just about every Cybertruck owner, as soon as you pick up your car, the first thing you notice is the fingerprint magnet thing is like for real. Like you look at the Cybertruck and fingerprints appear. Like you don't even have to touch it. It's so prone to fingerprints. So and then the other part of it is like, I guess we're all the same. Like, we want to be unique. You don't want the same vehicle that looks as everybody else's. So a lot of people, as soon as they get their Cybertruck, one of the first options is like, yeah, I'm going to tint it, of course, especially if you live in Texas for the heat and all that. But it's like, do I do a vinyl or do I do a paint protection film? The difference, high level. And I think, Eli, I heard on X, one of your awesome community discussions, somebody had asked about this. We assume that everybody knows about this because we're so deeply in this space, but just at a high level, vinyl, think about vinyl. It's when people do like color changes on the vehicle. It's almost like electric tape. It's dry application.
Yep.
Typically vinyl is like 4 millimeters. If it scratches, it doesn't self-heal. It just shows the scratch. The other thing that I know about vinyl, the life of the vinyl is no more than like 4 or 5 years. So I knew I didn't want to go down that. Yeah, max. So I've seen some really cool like wraps and like with vinyl, where people do color changes, they can do designs and all that. But like, I wanted mine to be not only like looking cool, but also like practical. So I decided that I knew I was going to do paint protection film, PPF. Expel is a great company that does that kind of stuff here in Austin, and all my vehicles so far have been wrapped with Excel Stealth PPF. That's the one that's not clear, but it's got a little bit of shimmer to it. So like on a pearl white Model X, it makes it look like a pearl color almost. So I really like that. The reason I like the paint protection film is it's much thicker than vinyl. It's like 8 millimeters to 10 millimeters. If it does get a small scratch in it, when it do it with the heat outside, it kind of like self heals a little bit. So it's just a very practical way.
That's a big deal, by the way. So,
Yeah.
by the way, not to confuse things further, but they actually now offer color changing paint protection films.
Yeah.
Our friend Will from F the Pump, he has one of those, and it actually is a colored paint protection film. But most wraps are either vinyl or PPF. I have a vinyl wrap. I have a bunch of holes in my wrap from the last 5 years now, literally 5 years next month that I've had it. And every single one of those holes that existed in the wrap never repaired. So when I pull this wrap off in a week or two, I'm going to make a video about this, and you're going to see there's going to be sun damage to the paint in the holes in the wrap that the rest of the vehicle will not have. And if I'd had a PPF like you're talking about, they would have self-healed. So like, I'm happy with what I did, but man, I wish I had had a PPF to go along with it.
Bro, you gotta send your Starship to Unplugged. I think those are the people that can take your thing to the next level.
I'm deciding what wrap I'm doing in the next 2 weeks. Unplugged. If you guys want to be the ones doing it, hit me up. If not, I'm gonna be taking it up to LA.
Yeah, dude, it'll be awesome. So basically, so I decided to go that route. I did a colored paint protection film. It's kind of like this dark silver. We'll throw up some pictures so you guys can see it. It has like little bits of like gold or something in it. At this point, Unplugged is like the demand for other products is so insane that I'm gonna have to wait a little bit until I get the full package. But whenever all the products that I want to do to the vehicle get in, I'm gonna ship it back to LA. Basically, I was joking with some of my friends. I'm like, dude, Elon's gonna be jealous of my Cyber Beast. That's how good this thing is gonna be. Hey, but Elon, if you're listening, if you want it done, we'll hook you up with one as well, dude.
Maybe he'll go for it. I know Tesla's offering their own wraps and stuff, so maybe that feels a bit competitive. But like, look, if you just want a wrap and you don't want to deal with any headaches, you want it to come from the factory wrap, go with Tesla. But if you want to do something customized, go with somebody near you. They can work with you. They can work with you on custom designs. And if you're in Southern California or California entirely, you definitely want to look at Unplugged Performance.
I'm trying to think. I want to be like honest and share good and bad. When I took delivery of my vehicle, my car was like 5,000 and something VIN. So I feel like by the time I got my vehicle, they've worked out. I've heard things on YouTube and on X, like panel gap or whatever. I didn't have any of those issues. I did, however, the front of my car. Remember Rustgate? It seemed like there's a little bit of like what looked like rust. And I could tell that like right before I took delivery, Tesla was trying to, I think actually Tom Zhu was out there trying to clean my vehicle, which is crazy.
Bro, Tom Zhu is helping prep your vehicle for delivery.
Yeah,
that is nuts.
Yeah, I'll show us.
That's just crazy.
Let's throw up some of the photos and stuff. And then, of course, when you have the number 2 guy at Tesla come hand deliver, I was like, Tom, I appreciate it. He's like, I personally worked on your vehicle. And then I had him sign. I've got a place left for Elon and Franz and the rest of the engineering team to sign my vehicle, but I'm going to put that at the very top of the front, basically, like the underbody. So that was really cool. But I didn't, besides, I took it to a car wash and all the stuff that was on the front, what looked like rust, went away completely. So I think it is what people are talking about. It's kind of like other metal particles that are sitting on top of the metal that maybe have a little bit, but like it washes off. Like literally everything went away. I do like the like the hubcaps for efficiency that were on there.
I do, yeah.
One of the executives at Tesla was not using his, so he gave them to me. So I'm definitely, once my car arrives, I'm putting those on there. Until Unplug is gonna take the vehicle to the next level. I'm gonna be driving that for the next several weeks, basically, with the hubcaps and all that kind of stuff. I'm excited.
Congrats, man! I'm stoked for you and your Cybertruck. I know the viewers and the listeners are going to be excited to see what comes. Now, before we run out of time on today's episode, we've just dropped the Tesla Q1, it's the Q1 2024 update. This is from Q1 earnings. Let's take a look at the slides and we can kind of react to what's happening in real time.
Okay, let's do it. I'm assuming this is going to be bad news for the most part.
So that's what everyone was expecting. The stock slid a lot the last couple of weeks, but based on how market's reacting just before we jumped into this call, we're seeing some positives. Things are not as bad as shareholders in general were expecting. So let's jump in. And there's some exciting news in this.
Okay, very cool.
So this is the big one. They were profitable in Q1, $1.2 billion in GAAP operating income. Despite substantial increase in expenditures, operating cash flow is $0.2 billion, not a lot, but still positive cash flow. Despite large expenditures in growth and FSD development and in continuing drop in car prices, they're still managing to stay profitable.
Oh, go back real quick. You saw the 1,000 Cybertrucks a week statement there. I can verify that's correct. Under operations, produced over 1,000 Cybertrucks in a single week in April. That's probably the last few weeks. But I live in Austin, so I drive by the factory. Oh my God, dude. There's like thousands upon thousands of Cybertrucks. I've seen some pictures on X. People think they're like, what do you call it? Like, they're not real pictures. People are just like they're renderings. But no. There's like massive parking lots of Cybertrucks. So this is correct. There's they're definitely cranking on Cybertruck production right now.
I don't know why anyone would think those parking lot photos were renderings. Anyone can go throw a drone up in the air and go confirm whether they're there or not. Like, that's such a weird fud. Like, that's stupid. All right, we're going to jump through the financials because neither of us are big financial analysts in that regard. We're going to jump into the news. So they have unveiled their early look at their ecosystem. And this is kind of a breakdown for investors to see everything that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Lithium refining to batteries. Like, look at this whole end-to-end ecosystem they are building. Tell me another legacy auto manufacturer. We're going to ignore for a moment the humanoid robots because everything else here have to do with the car aside from the humanoid robots. Tell me another auto manufacturer that is owning this many pieces of vehicle use end to end.
Yep. And the perfect marriage of hardware and software too. You know how people say Tesla is basically just a bunch of startups in one? Literally every one of those icons is a company in its right. Like a unicorn, right? Like a unicorn badass company.
And because they're part of a giant, $500 billion valued company, they're business units. And they all have very specific functions. What goes on in lithium refining and battery cells has nothing to do with what's happening in supervised FSD.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't need to.
And I kind of, I'm assuming this was organized this way on purpose. This was not haphazard. To me, I look at this chart and I think the things that will affect Tesla's future growth and market cap in the biggest way start from bottom to top. Oh, sorry, reverse, from the top to bottom. So like the humanoid robot, who knows how long, we put Elon time on all this stuff. Let's call it 10, 15, 20 years when they finally, it could be sooner. You never know. But like, that's probably it's going to transform this company, right? It's like Elon is solving all labor issues and all that kind of stuff. It's like unlimited essentially. Ride hail, FSD supervised. Dude, today since my Cybertruck's not here, I'm driving our spare car, the Model Y. I was like starving. I had 15 minutes driving from one point of Austin to another to an important meeting, and I got like lunch to go. I mean, I'm supervising, but I'm also like eating this thing, dude. Like the new the FSD supervised, it's so amazing. To be honest, I don't use it a lot because usually when I'm driving, I'm with my wife and my 10-month-old. So my wife isn't comfortable with me doing it. But anytime I'm in the car by myself, it's like automatic because I'm like nerd and curious on how, 12.3 is behaving and all that. But today it was like one of those like real life test case. I wasn't like sleeping. I wasn't whatever. I'm eating, but my hands are busy but I'm watching everything as it's happening, and I'm just like shocked at the results.
And look, let's be real for anybody who's about to start crying about that statement. Everybody has eaten in their car. Everybody has texted on their cell phone in a vehicle that does not have autopilot. We're not talking about abusing the feature. We're talking about doing the things that people typically do in their vehicles as they're commuting. Now, this is a level 2 advanced driver assist system. So if something happens and we're driving, we're responsible. No different than if our car didn't have autopilot and just had cruise control. So this is nothing new, but the advancements in what it's been able to do in side streets is a big deal and will be a big deal if it gets to when it gets to where they're promising. So you talked about the ride hailing thing. So this was probably the biggest news of the earnings call of new products for Tesla that should be coming reasonably soon. And that's the preview of the ride hailing in the Tesla app. Uber stock, by the way, fell like 2% after hours on this news.
It should have fell. It should have fell a lot more than that, dude.
Dude, I'll let you tell me what you think about this next. But man, when I saw this, I've been waiting for this for years. Anytime I use an Uber, I always select Comfort Electric, if it's even available in the region I go to. And that really depends. Some regions don't have it. Some regions don't have enough electric vehicles to support it. But I'm using Uber's Comfort Electric with the hopes of getting a ride in a Tesla. I would much rather use a Tesla ride-sharing app and be guaranteed to get a ride in a Tesla.
Yep. There's not much I can talk about with this, Eli. I've got a pretty serious NDA in regards to this particular part of Tesla at this point.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording, and then we're going to come back to this after Anwar Bex told me all the juice. I'm just kidding. That's awesome. Well, all right, forget what you know. What do you think about this from a public standpoint and adoption and kind of you come from engineering. And so like, what kind of challenges do you think they're going to have in implementing this? Right? Because let's be real. Uber took time to build a network of drivers, right? So Tesla's going to have to do the same. Now, I would say that there's a lot of Uber drivers that have Teslas that will happily jump on this network as a third option, right? Most gig ride-hailing drivers work on both Uber and Lyft. They're not platform agnostic. They just jump between who's paying them the most and who has the most opportunities. Where do you think Tesla fits in for the drivers? Because that's the key, right? If you go onto this app and if you hit call, and if you call an Uber and it takes 2 minutes to get a response, and if you call Tesla app and it takes 10 minutes to get a response, nobody's going to go with the Tesla app. So what challenges do you think Tesla's going to face in getting that network adoption?
I mean, our like a knee-jerk reaction to our follow-through. I mean, we literally say, I'm Ubering to you, right? We use the name of the company when we talk about ride-hailing. I think that's going to be Tesla's big challenge. I kind of have this feeling that Elon's going to lean back to his PayPal days. Remember how they had this, like, they were paying people to join PayPal to kind of like experience the service? I think the only way in the beginning, they're going to have to run this at a loss just to get the marketing out. I'm assuming if rides are 50% off on the Tesla ride share versus Uber or Lyft, I think a normal person like you and I, people that own Teslas, that's a no-brainer. We'll use this because it's Tesla. The app is already on our phones. They've already but for somebody to take the time to download the Tesla app and try this out, I think we're going to have to do some creative marketing. So it's an interesting dynamic. You saw the last few weeks, Tesla started doing some marketing. It sounds like recently Elon's been tweeting about it, that he's not super happy with with the marketing campaign. The ads
he shouldn't be, because the marketing campaigns are boring fucking B-roll of this product that everybody's already seen. You can't just run videos of cars and say the sale price. You've got to tell the story. You've got to tell the story of how the ownership experience will change your life, and you have to connect that to people emotionally. I get it. We all wish that everyone was a logical autist. They're not. There's the majority of the population is neurotypical, and you have to connect to them where they feel if you want to actually move them to go a direction they weren't already going. And the ads were not doing that.
Yeah. So I think in the beginning it'll be challenging, dude. I think it's there is Tesla has a big brand. So I think whenever this does get released, knowing Elon, we'll get a lot of free publicity, right? Like when we broke the Cybertruck glass story and it became a t-shirt and a symbol of Tesla in the Cybertruck. Something like that I'm hoping will happen, where there's a lot of awareness for this app. But I still to this day know, the Cybertruck is a perfect example. The amount of people that come up to me that have no idea that this product exists, literally like most questions I get is, what is that?
What is that?
Yeah, they literally, I go,
Give
and
them
I'm
any
like,
funny answers?
I just say this is the Tesla pickup, and they're like, oh, okay. Like, it's in our world, it's again like you and I probably live in this Tesla Elon bubble, right? Like we follow all the stuff. We're Tesla geeks. We follow everything to the minutia, but the normal everyday person, dude, like they literally don't even know that. Like we know the Cybertruck was presented 4 years ago, and we've been following it, but I'm literally driving the physical product.
That was it, man.
Insane, dude. I still have this weird, like when I'm driving the Cybertruck, I'm like, I'm a fan of Tesla and Elon, but even I had a hard time believing that that's what they're going to produce. I mean, I know Tesla tends to like they show an unveil of a vehicle and it's very close, unlike the traditional automakers that show you like what do you call it? Like concept vehicles that look never look anything, never even close. So I know Tesla has a track record for getting close to what they show, but whenever I picked up my vehicle, I literally had these moments where I'm like pinch myself. I'm like, am I really driving this thing? This thing is mad, dude. Like it is insane. Like I cannot believe this is real. I can't believe I own it, and I can't believe I'm driving this in real life.
Can't blame you, man. It's an absolutely insane machine. We're getting close to wrapping up today's episodes, and we're back. Any last thoughts?
I think at Tesla right now, it's all, heads down, pencils up or whatever. The robo-taxi event, I think, is what everybody's focused in on. I just want to say if our listeners, some of them that were affected by the recent layoffs at Tesla, please reach out to me. I mean, there's a lot of other, I'd love to help, see if there's a lot of opportunities, outside of Tesla. I just, I feel for these people because a lot of them, they're friends of ours. They're people that are at Tesla for the mission, not just for the salary. It's people that are trying to, help transition us to sustainable transport, all these amazing things they're working on. They're people that are very committed to the company, to the mission. So when these unfortunate things happen, I mean, at the end of the day, Tesla is a for-profit company. Elon is trying his best, I think, to run it, as optimally as possible. And it's not all, everything is straight and to the right. We have these like ups and downs, but I think this community is incredible. So I hope for those of you listening, for those of you that are on X, reach out to your, service advisors that you talk to, people that that work at Tesla. Just check in on them, see how they're doing. For those that were affected by the layoffs, they were working for, these are probably some of the most talented people in the pool out there. So I'm sure they'll land on their feet and have amazing opportunities to go to after Tesla.
Yeah, and if you were caught up in the layoff, all I would say is don't be too hard on yourself. These were kind of suddenly implemented layoffs. Your departments were handed numbers of what they had to cut, and you getting cut by no means was necessarily a reflection of your performance, just that there were numbers that they were given that they had to remove from their budget, and they had to make budgetary decisions. So obviously some of the removals had to be warranted because not everybody perfect is when they got let go, but plenty of great people who couldn't have worked harder and couldn't have been more passionate were let go. Just letting you guys know we're with you, and the future is going to be bright. Cut it out. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back for more Tesla Geeks Show.